We Rad Dads. Conversation, community, resources, and skills. Everything the single, stay-at-home, and step-parent needs to thrive. Join us for more tools and resources online at www.weraddads.com. Follow us on Twitter at WeRadDads. And join us on Facebook. Search We Rad Dads. As with all conversations, we started out with a little chit-chat and we got to know our guest. Here you can hear an excerpt of our irrational fears. Tell us something about you that nobody or very few people would know.
Well, I'm a child of the 70s, born in 72. And shortly after I was born, it was when the movie Jaws came out. And so I have an innate fear of dark water. I cannot stand being in water that I can't see underneath me, which is ironic because I'm a water fanatic. I love swimming, water skiing, everything else. So it's a little contradiction.
Totally. Jaws scarred me forever, and I am deathly afraid of sharks to this week. I don't think I can watch Shark Week. Mm-hmm. And I have that, I don't know if this is common with you or not, but I had that irrational fear that there was a shark in the deep end of a pool.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Okay. Yeah, swimming in a pool at night will still freak me out.
Yeah, exactly. Moving forward, we breached serious topics. Many people never open up to share this level of depth, but I was constantly humbled by what my guest had to say. Our conversation was as deep as it was rich. Fair warning, these conversations are not for the faint of heart. They're rated PG and suitable for most audiences. Physically and emotionally speaking at that time, where were you while you were inside this bomb crater? What mistakes did you make? Did you suffer from addiction, distraction, living in the past, depression, anger, doubt, negative habits? I mean, I've done it myself. I think we all have.
I'll just say yes to all of this.
Yeah.
It took me years, decades to really get to the point in my life where I could look back and say, you know, this is what happened, this is what I did, this is how I dealt with it. And you're always dealing with that. There's still times today where, you know, you just miss them.
I can't parallel my experience with yours, but I at least have a glimpse into what it is that must have been like.
Right. So, what I found myself doing over the remainder of the year and a half that I was in high school, a couple of my coping skills, some of them effective, some of them very destructive, I got as busy as possible. I refused to have any downtime. So I joined every school organization that I could. I was already a 2-sport athlete. I started another sport, became a 3-sport athlete. And then at home, I was taking care of my brother so that my mom could work. So I really refused to look at anything. I refused to acknowledge anything. I just knew that there was a huge hole there. And the way that I look at it today and giving people a physical example is if you take a glass of water, when you fill it halfway, you put a spoon in that glass of water and you start stirring the water as fast as you can, the water will rise to the top of the glass.
Right.
So the busier you are, the fuller you appear, when really it's the core, the center of the glass is hollow. And that's exactly what I became.
Wow. That's a really powerful metaphor.
In doing that, I didn't allow myself emotional connections with people. And part of this was I was a 16, 17-year-old boy. I was an athlete, whatever. And so the only connection that I would allow myself to people was...
Unfortunately, I had to cut it off there. But it seemed every which way we turned, there was more deep and insightful conversation. Given your circumstances and history, how has your family, specifically your children, driven you to find success or strive for excellence in your daily life?
Well, ironically, before I had kids, a little secret about me is I hate exercise.
Really? I would never have known.
Yeah. I would never choose to go exercise. I'm a very competitive person by nature, and I used to do sports, and that was my exercise. So I was very goal-driven in my exercise, but, I would never willingly go run a marathon. But if you drove me out in the middle of the desert and told me the nearest water source was 26 miles away, I'm running a marathon.
Right.
And so when I used to exercise, or I felt like not exercising, I would remind myself that my father died of a heart attack at 40. My brother died of a heart attack at 30. My grandfather died of a heart attack at 45. And I needed to exercise. And so I would go for a run, and I would put in a couple of miles. And then when I felt tired, I'd make myself run one more mile for my dad, and 1 more mile from my brother.
Wow.
And so when I became a father, I realized it was no longer about running for the past. It was about running for the future.
I'm sorry I can't share any more at this time. You're going to have to wait and tune in for the full episode, which is to be released soon. For now, stay tuned. Check us out online at www.weraddads.com. Check us out on Facebook and Twitter. There's plenty more where that came from. Stay tuned. This is Walter Eggers, reminding you to stay up, stay connected, and stay rad, dads.